Hi guys, Palmer Car Audio and welcome back to the channel. Right, just behind me here, we've got a lovely Mercedes W124 in Bornite metallic. It's kind of like a purpley stroke mauvey colour, absolutely beautiful colour on this. And it's the only reason it's parked over the ramp. That's right, what goes up must come down. It's going to get bagged this week. So yeah, watch this space and we'll show you the install process. Now this, if you follow me, this car is absolutely immaculate. The customer actually did a kind of semi-restoration on it a few years ago and it's been parked up ever since, and now it's come back out. And it's the first place it's come to is here, and that's it. We're going to be putting it on bags. I can't wait. I really love 124s. We've done a heap of 124s recently. They seem to be hot off the press. Funnily enough, a bagged 124 drives so nice. They're just such a pleasure to drive, and obviously when they're slammed on the floor, they look killer. But yeah, let me show you what we're going to be doing in the boot on this one. Look, this one's got, look, this is quite rare. This has got soft close, look. That's pretty cool. Tell you what, mate, Mercs, they were always well ahead of their time. Right, this is actually a 7-seater, so we've got, it's got fold up, so it's like a 7-seater. It's got the seats that fold up, so we can't really use the floor pan for any of the air ride equipment. See, that's pretty cool, man. It's the perfect wagon. So obviously, because the seats are there, customer wanted to retain all the boot space. So what we're going to be doing, lovely three-gallon tank, going to drop straight in there. And then we'll make some brackets for the compressor and the airlift 3P manifold just to sit in the boot area, and then voila, the boot panel will go back and everything will look OEM, except for when you look outside the car because it's going to be sat on the floor. So yeah, if you stick around, you get to see the some of the install process and more importantly the end result. So yeah, hang around and I will see you shortly.
So removing the front springs of the Mercedes Estate. So we've got the spring compressor tool which will draw the spring closer together. These are the new shocks that are replacing the OE Mercedes shocks and springs. This is the spring with the new perches, top and bottom. Places in top turret, bottom turret. That's the shock getting located in and tightened up in position. Fitting the new equipment is a lot easier than fitting the springs because there's no air in it, so you can actually physically compress the bag by hand and get it into position where you want it, fasten it up so it doesn't spin. So the adjustments are done once fitted and it's all placed. Just gonna add it. We're running the front and rear air lines into the car where the spare wheel would have been, and that's where all the air equipment is being housed.
So it's all plumbed up, it's going to be on the floor later on. We're just making some final adjustments to the heights, and if you follow me I'll explain to you what's going on. So on air out at the minute, there's still quite a big arch gap, so hence the reason you have threaded bodies on the shocks. So we're going to be shortening the shocks so we can get more of a drop on it. Ultimately that does compromise on lift, so the lower you want it, you will lose some height on it. So we're going to just maybe find some sort of medium ground so it airs out decently and tucks, and then we also get some decent lift on it as well. So yeah, these shocks are due to be shortened, which Jay and Steve are doing now. So we're just kind of dialing in the ride and the heights really. But yeah, so we should see this on the floor later on today.
Mocking up a board where it will house our tank, compressor and manifold. Without drilling any holes or anything, I'm going to be using the original spare wheel mount to hold our board in place. Then we're going to be mounting the manifold and compressor in position. So it does measure mocking up for that now. These are the feet for our tank. Because it's a seamless tank, you can orientate the tank any sort of direction you need. Then you just tighten up the brackets which will hold the tank in position. So that's the compressor being mounted at the moment. But I've modified the feet slightly because it's going to be mounted vertically, not going to be sufficient enough to keep the noise low. What I've done is modified the feet a bit so the springs will actually clamp all the way down, but retaining the rubber to try and reduce any sort of vibration on it. That's the manifold being mounted. The board is now ready to be dropped into the vehicle, so the relevant connections for the airbags are ready to be plumbed in. It out everywhere.
Again, how much can
So we only moved it from we only started it for 2 minutes and we had puddles.
So this car originally had hydraulic lift on just on the rear. So we've left the original pipe work in place just in case it ever needs to go back to OEM, which I doubt, but the option's still there. So we're just going to cap off the hydraulic pipe so the oil stops pissing out.
Mounting the board in position and plugging in the air lines and terminating the compressor connections, and there you have it, guys. That is a fully plumbed in Mercedes Estate bagged.
Happy days. So that's it. We're back from test drive on the 124 and it drives like a dream. You can't even feel them. You can't even feel the bumps. It's proper. It's another job well done, and yeah, this drives like a dream. Before we show you the rest of the car, let me just show you what we've done in the boot. So obviously, being an estate or a wagon, it's got 2 additional seats in the boot, and obviously the customer wanted to retain those. So once again, bam. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, the seats fold up and you can get a couple of extra kids in the boot. Look at that. That is cool, man. You don't get them like this anymore. So these obviously fold all back. And then we've mounted all the air components in the passenger side quarter. Have a look at that, all hidden away. Happy days. So we've put one of our, we haven't drilled any additional holes in the vehicle, so the air lines have come up through existing grommets, so they're all nice and safe. That's all bolted to an original bolt hole as well, so there's absolutely been no additional holes been drilled in this car. Quite rightly, I wouldn't want to on a classic neither. And then the cover simply just goes back over the top. There we go. Car can go a little bit lower on the rear, but we've set the shocks so that we don't mess up the arches basically, so the customer can air out and he knows he won't crush his arches, because there is a massive lip on these and the customer is actually putting new wheels on it, so we can make any further adjustments accordingly later on. But yeah, and the front, tucking on the front, absolutely marvelous. Airlift 3P management. Listen baby, there's only one way down, airlift performance.